What is the importance of being a good leader? Sadly, the true meaning and importance of leadership has been lost with time. Most people think that being a good leader is all about making money or being powerful, and yet we constantly hear of employees resigning from top multinational corporations because of poor leadership. A bad leader can break a company, but a good one will bring people together. That's why a lot of people would rather work for less pay but with a leader who understands and appreciates them. We know that whenever you think of great leaders, you'll picture people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and Kamala Harris. But it's not just about the people at the top of the food chain. Being a leader has nothing to do with power or success. Anyone can be a leader if they understand what it really means. And here's where it gets interesting. You might think leadership is just about managing a group of people. After all, isn't that what leaders do? Well, you couldn't be more wrong. So why don't you sit tight as we explore why it's crucial to be a leader and how you can be one. Welcome to ALUX. Why is leadership important? A great leader isn't just someone giving orders, bringing innovation, or creating value. A leader is someone who helps those around them to be at their best. They create an environment where people can gather and create value through collaboration. And this is why people you look up to as great leaders do well in their respective industries. They work with their employees to achieve success. Humans are social animals by nature. We thrive when we work together. But lately, people have become more focused on themselves. Individuality is being pushed as the key to success, and group dynamics are being left behind. But a leader takes those individuals and makes them a community. A leader guides people so they can achieve their potential, not only on their own, but through work with others as well. But our idea of leadership has been distorted, and now we think of power and money as measures of a good leader. But there are leaders everywhere in life, like our parents and teachers. Their role as guides is fundamental to the well-being of society. And just like they nurture and develop us as we grow into adults, so must a good leader develop the people that are under their charge. If you want those you lead to stick with you for a long time, you must lead intelligently and be mindful of their needs. And while our notions of leadership are kind of distorted, people are becoming increasingly more aware of the necessity of good leadership in today's globalized economy. Even more importantly, they have higher expectations of the people they choose to follow in terms of leadership. A good leader can boost morale and improve the relationship between their employees. And building these relationships creates trust that contributes to the creation of an open and honest culture across the company. We can also name several other benefits, like leadership inspiring confidence, improving employee engagement, and enabling innovation. Take a look at Google, for example. As we discussed in our video on Google and innovation, their unique approach to creativity and empowering their employees has made them the company they are today. And they achieved this by giving their employees the space to be creative and encouraging them to do so. So instead of asking yourself, "Am I a great leader?" ask if you're doing what's best by the people who trust you to lead them. And to do that, you need to think about what makes a great leader and then how to become one. Characteristics of a great leader. Even though there are many different types of leadership, all great leaders have certain characteristics in common. They're good listeners. Since great leaders understand that listening is the cornerstone to effective communication, they always give listening precedence over talking. They're constant learners. Great leaders are constantly seeking to learn from the experiences of others, whether through books, seminars, or mentors. Cultivating a great mindset is essential for effective leadership. Even better is to cultivate it in others, like Google does. They're service-driven. Great leaders understand that the most effective way to influence people is to assist them in achieving their goals. Finding ways to help others will ultimately help yourself and the team. They're healthy. Ever heard of the quote, "The greatest wealth is health"? You probably have. Great leaders recognize that in order to give their full potential, they must take care of their physical and mental health, since it's critical for productivity. And not only theirs, but also that of those they lead. It's important to take care of yourself and others. They're accountable. Leaders don't blame others for their actions, and they take responsibility for the outcomes. People respect those that can admit their mistakes and look for solutions. They're focused. The word focus simply means follow one course until success, and great leaders recognize what matters most and focus their efforts on it. They have empathy. If you want to be a great leader, you need to be emotionally wise and care about helping people and putting yourself in their position. If you can work on all of these qualities, you will be a great leader. However, we are quite aware that being a great leader has its own challenges, so let's talk about the key ones that you'll be facing every day. Challenges of being a great leader. The truth is, any leader will eventually face some challenges, and part of what makes a good leader is knowing how to handle them. There's a lot of people that get pushed into leadership because they're good at what they do, but that doesn't mean they'll be good leaders. That's why we have so many people in positions of leadership that aren't very effective. In your path to leadership, you'll have to face the following challenges. Trust is important. Earning the trust of people you lead is essential, but hard. We came across a study that was done a few years ago that claimed employees trust strangers more than their own boss. You might have actually had a few bosses that left you feeling this way. Earning someone's trust is difficult, especially if they've had unpleasant experiences in the past, and it takes time as well. Moreover, you know that before your employees start to trust you, you must share a couple of experiences with them first. And more often than not, it's easier to lose trust than to earn it. As a leader, you must prioritize creating trust among your team members. Dealing with pressure and stress. Any great leader's primary responsibility is to make decisions, and some of these choices will be difficult. Firing individuals, deciding between two excellent candidates for a certain job role, or reassigning staff members to a different department because they aren't performing effectively. And sometimes these are hard choices that will earn you the anger of other people. At other times, you might be forced to make a decision under tons of pressure, so you should learn to accept and cope with this. Dealing with your personal stress management at work is crucial as a leader. Make time for yourself, not just for the sake of your team, but for yours as well. Managing difficult people. Being a leader does not guarantee that others will like you or that you'll like them. You'll have to deal with people who don't share your values or don't like to be told what to do, sometimes both. In this case, great leaders try to avoid conflict, but they don't shy away from it. Instead, they learn to cope with it and to communicate effectively. A difficult individual can provide valuable insight into your management style. Don't miss out on the chance to learn from someone who thinks differently than you do. They could be driven by a desire to make a bigger difference. They may have unique perspective or hold the key to a novel approach that will ultimately make your community or company better. Gifts aren't always presented in attractive packaging. Building strong interpersonal skills is critical for a great leader, and there are many different types of leaders and many ways to lead. It'll take some work to identify the best approach for you and your people, but a good way to do so is to learn from other great leaders. Let's take a look at two famous examples. Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, two of the most well-known entrepreneurs in the world, both bring a distinct set of leadership qualities to the table, and there's no denying that both are accomplished business owners who've built massive empires as a result of their hard work and dedication. So let's break it down for easier understanding. One of the most notable differences between Gates and Jobs is that Bill wasn't as creative as Steve. He didn't express his desire to develop solely through his ideas. Instead, he used his team's ideas and advice to create some of today's biggest technological game changers. Bill Gates' enthusiastic and diligent attitude is the driving force behind Microsoft's success. He realized in order to thrive in business, you must be able to adapt to fluctuations and changes. And today, Gates has built a company that's weathered the storm and emerged as a shining star as the result of his business philosophy. Then there's Steve Jobs, who, unlike Gates, didn't recognize the value of collaborating with employees as a team. He was perceived as a more authoritarian leader who was demanding of his team. While his methods were difficult for those who worked for him, they were remarkably effective in ensuring Apple's success. Mind you, Steve Jobs did have the ability to recognize the potential in people, but in a much different way than Gates. He had the ability to pique people's curiosity and elicit strong feelings about a topic. He built a positive work environment through innovative design and optimistic thinking. He wanted to create things in a way that he deemed fit. He was once quoted as saying, People don't know what they want until it's shown to them, and this aided him in his creative and design processes when it came to making products that he knew people wanted. Now, you should understand that these are different approaches to leading. You just have to find the most effective way to bring out your leadership qualities, but you don't have to have a group of people under you to be a leader. And maybe you think that's absurd, but you can even lead without being a leader. Want to know why? Because leadership is an attitude, not a title. How to lead without being a leader. Some folks do as they're told and just focus on their duties, but leaders are willing to tackle difficult issues that other people avoid. They're willing to speak up rather than accept something that they believe would be a mistake. Leaders don't want to be thanked. Instead, they readily express gratitude to their peers, subordinates, and employers. They publicly express gratitude and acknowledge the contributions of others. And we both know that giving compliments to your peers doesn't require a managerial title. You'll stand out if you're willing to share compliments and convey a positive mindset. And finally, to make a difference in other people's professional lives, you don't need a long, prestigious title. Organize a training session or mentor your peers. If your company has a mentorship program, let HR know that you'd like to participate, or you could even start one if there isn't one already. Reverse mentoring is yet another visible and practical technique to demonstrate your leadership abilities to someone in a higher position than you. For example, if you're an SEO specialist and you know your bosses are clueless when it comes to SEO, don't you think it wise to offer to help them? We believe it's an effective approach to get on the radar of some decision makers. Okay, Luxers, we've come to the end of this session for today, and as always, we've got a bonus for those of you watching with us until the end. Leaders really show their mettle when they join those they lead to help. For example, did you know that Queen Elizabeth II actually served during World War II? She was both a mechanic and a truck driver and worked alongside her fellow Brits to provide support and aid. Now that's a leader.